Don't forget to like us on Facebook and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is also on the same name, Take Flight, where learning is a what? Elevated experience. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of our amazing podcast, Take Flight. I'm with my host, Philip Curling. Phil, say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Yes, and I am also your host, Ophir anymore, otherwise known as Gold of Ophir. And we have a very special guest today. This person has been a part of my life now, going for how long? Yeah, I ain't gonna say too much because then I won't be my age. But we've been friends for a very long time. She is actually the person that got my first start in acting in film. Yes, her movie Jasmine. I got a chance to be the lead actress for that movie, which also happened to win at the film festival. At what was COB at the time, called to the Bahamas. So we have a very long and interesting history, and I've watched this woman grow up to be the businesswoman that she is, soaring, conquering, and I'm so excited to have her on our show today. And she is none other than the amazing Jasper Haeward, aka Jasper Books. Oh,
hey, oh! I would show you all my tattoo, but that would require me to take off my clothes. I don't think it's that kind of podcast.
Oh, no, we'll save that for after hours. But Jazz, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. So delighted to have you here. So kind of give everyone kind of a backstory as to who is Jasper Wolf, where did she originate from, how did she get to where she is? Give the audience a little history on you, if you don't mind.
Jesus, it's gonna have to be a fast history. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really happy to see that you guys are doing something like this. It's really positive vibes on every front, so that's really good. Like you said, I got my start in film in COB when we made our first film. I would say it wasn't just me, because that was very crazy, long nights, long hours. Which translated into radio, long nights, long hours, long days of production. I produced 5 radio shows for Guardian Radio when I was still in college, and then I left college. I dropped out 2 times out of college. I dropped out of COE, of the Mass Communications program, and I also dropped out of Full Sail, the entertainment business program, both times because I had no money. So. I mean, now today I run a digital media business called Haeward Digital Media. Right now I'm pivoting. I'm trying to scale my business to a more solopreneur type of thing instead of trying to be everywhere. So it's really been a long journey to get to this particular point right here. I'm from Nassau. That was really rude. And I now live in Harbor Island. With my wonderful partner, Toby. And he makes amazing rum called One Drop Rum and One Drop Gin. But yeah, that's pretty much a basic rundown of what's happening in my life right now.
All right, Jasper, I have a question. We deal with a lot of personal development. So can you tell us what personal development you did while you were pursuing your business or pursuing the success that you have right now? Like what personal development you were into?
I'll start with now and I'll kind of jump back to the beginning. Right now, I was actually just loaned this book called The Infinite Game by Sinek. And this is his chip book, Start With Why. And this man is absolutely I didn't even know who this person was. I was introduced to him by one of his speakers, Lee Prosenjack, and he talks about finding your reason for being, your reason for doing anything that you do in your life. And at first I thought it was complete, BS. But because I've seen so many self-development coaches and that over the years who just try to sell you things, But as I actually listened to him, he was saying, he was making absolute sense. We all have a reason for what we're doing in business and in our lives. And he is making the argument that it shouldn't be just a limited, especially in this book right here, that we shouldn't play a finite, we should the infinite game of life with a finite mindset. We should come in with just willing to be who we are and make no apologies for why we live our lives, right? So that's where I am, journey. That took a long, long, long time to get there. Like, I remember when I was still in college, so many arguments with people. Like, a lot of the time people would tell me, like, you don't always have to speak up, you don't always have to say, you know, what's on your mind and all that stuff. And it was really frustrating to me because I was young, like, I mean, I'm still young, but I was a teenager just coming into adulthood, like about to be 20, and you had all these influential male figures in my life who were always telling me, oh, you know, you're too young, you're a woman, like, no one likes you to be loud, like, you just need to keep. And that was difficult because I was in a profession that requires people to speak up. Like, you had Chrissy Love on the radio at the time. Daryl Miller was at the station at the time. I worked with him loads of times. And these are two, like, very loud, very bold figures, albeit they're two different genders. But how could you tell someone who's just learning that to do what they're doing that they're too quiet? So I wrestled with that for a really long time. I didn't grow up all that well. Like, I grew up on Johnson Road, like, the first few years of my life. And I watched my father do a lot of really poor decisions. So that has been a really big learning curve for me, like, kind of reparenting and listening to who have a lot to say on reparenting and just what that is, bringing yourself back up again as an adult, right? And I know you and me, Ophir, have sat down and talked about this one time in the past, like, all the anxiety and all the shit I went through in my, but, you know, it's easy to get sidetracked in self-development when you have all these outside forces and you've been trained to listen to all these outside forces to tell you who you are, tell you what kind of magic you have inside of your own self, you know? So my self-development journey is very long. I have listened to hundreds and hundreds of self-development teachers. I watched so much hours of video. I'm a person, I love information. So read a book in a day, I will read that, I'll finish that in a day. And, like, I've signed up for a lot of different courses. One lady that I recently, Claire Zammit, and she talks about reclaiming your feminine power. And a lot of women are clamoring, like, millions of women had taken her courses. I didn't even know who this woman is. And she's just like, you know, we live in such a male-centric society that the female voice, the feminine voice that's in all of us, not just women, it gets crowded out by this logical, you have to get a job, you have to do things like this, you have to, like, live this life that's in segments. So a lot of my life has been going down the road of, okay, I learn all this stuff, it's garbage, how do I break free of it now? How do I live a life that is fulfilling to me, but also has a positive impact on other people? And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So yeah, that's a lot, but yeah.
No,
that's pretty good. Like,
go ahead, Phil.
That's pretty good. Like, with us, like, basically personal development is like, I just actually got started in personal development, I would say, going on 2 years now. And what I realized is that we have a lot of bad habits we develop because, trust me, if nobody taught us about personal development, you wouldn't even know it exists.
That's real.
And when your parents haven't, like, teach anyone because they're not used to it, especially in our Bahamian background, like, you find, like, only maybe successful families or white successful family actually, or some families who entered it other than in the Bahamas, what, like that, because you won't hear babies say, well, I listen to Les Brown. People be like, who is Les Brown? And trust me, and when you realize you have bad habits, there is only way to to change these habits, these subconsciously that's in your system, because sometimes you'll be like, no, I don't want to do it, and you end up doing it because it's so ingrained in you, is that you have to put the hours upon hours of personal development. You got to pour in you. And what you did is crazy, and that is excellent, because for you to break all your old habits, the old you have to put hours in you. And trust me, that book, Say Your Why, I listened to that audio. That is amazing. That was crazy. And that would drop, you see, because you understand, we do things based on like it. But when you have that why, that drive, like this is why I do it, like what hurts you? That's actually the why. What hurts you stands for why. Because when you find what hurts you, you won't want to be hurt. So you're going to push on that.
Very.
You have that vision.
Listen, Phil always comes with these nuggets, man.
And I mean, he dropped that bomb in there so like subtly, like it's WHY. What hurts you? I never heard no shit like that before in my life. That is brilliant. Sorry, go on.
So basically, when we have like, see, when we know when what hurt us, like no one wants to be hurt. So you can do things that don't hurt you. So you realize, I'm in this position that's hurting. I got $0 in my pocket. How am I going to get out of this position? I don't like this position. I got to figure out how to get out. See, when you start figuring out ways to get out it, you don't go worry about not having zero. You can figure out ways to put money in your pocket.
Right.
And a lot of us sit down there and complain, and that's lack of personal development. When you find people complaining, they just focus on the problem. They're not focusing on the solution. And the only way you can focus on the solution is through personal development. Right. And that's excellent. Because imagine if you never had personal development. You probably wouldn't even be here.
I wouldn't even be alive. I will tell you that from now, I would not be alive. If I ran through my whole life story, trust me, I would not be sitting here at all.
And the thing is, I've been with Jasper through the journey. So like I've seen the transition from where she was to where she is now. And it's so beautiful to see that she did not allow her environment to control her or to keep her stagnant. I know it was a tough thing to push through, but at the end of the day, you still push through, you know? And I feel as if that's so inspiring for other, not only women, but people in general who are going, oh, Jasper did not cry.
I'm gonna cry.
No, but seriously, that's the truth though. I can only speak the truth. It's so inspirational, because there are persons who've been through the same situations that you have been through, and they still there. So to see someone who was able to persevere and push beyond that is so amazing to see. And it just shows how victorious you can become when you know your why. That keeps you in the game, because it's one thing to get involved in something and then life happens, but what keeps you in it is your why. That's why I loved when you brought up that book, and I actually have not read it, but I'm definitely going to read it.
You should listen.
Can you put it up one more time so that everyone can see?
He has 4 books, but this is his first one. Start with Why. This is actually a speech. So if you go onto YouTube and you watch his very first TED Talk is what is in his TED Talk. But I feel like there's so much more information inside this book. Listen, you can't cover that in an hour. But I want to bring it full circle. I don't want to just talk about him, but his stuff is really amazing. But I love the connection, even if you didn't realize it, between money and having self-compassion. And that's one of the things I'm having a really hard time with right now. I did a wealth embodiment flow with this lady named Tori Washington, sorry. And you could find her on Instagram. And I stumbled across her through another woman who teaches tarot, astrology, self-development, and she hosts very energetic classes. I know everybody isn't into the whole magical side of things. I'm deep in the woo-woo side as well as the practical side. But this woman spoke so real. She was it's your ancestral line that has an impact on your relationship to money. It's your body and your trauma that has a direct link to how you deal with money. And to me, like, if I didn't stay for that whole like hour and a half, and that was the only thing I heard, that would have still changed my life forever. Because like, no idea, I did not know. And I think a lot of us, especially as brown people, Black people, and Caribbean people, especially in the Bahamas, Caribbean, wherever, we have this deep ancestral trauma that we don't really get the chance to sit down and acknowledge because we're still dealing with the fallout of that. We're still trying to climb the rungs to the like expat level, and even that being a kind of like contributing to the system. So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's hard work. And
Yeah.
in order for us specifically as people of color and Caribbean people to succeed, I feel like it's really important for us to have more self-compassion. We're very hard on ourselves to be like, I just bread, I gotta cut you off. I'll cut you off quick because no. And second you turn inward, you're gonna realize, wow, I've been working myself so much harder than I need to work myself, because it's just all of this hurt and this pain, like even the unspoken in our society, people are still carrying that around. And I love what you said, we don't learn personal development at home because our parents don't know how to have this really deep sense of self-compassion, you know, and that's led to our generation having its own, you know, set of problems, not just with money, but with success itself. And I think for you to feel successful as a person, you need to understand that some things in life just aren't your fault. You don't have to blame yourself for everything. And the first step comes with taking actual responsibility. And that's what personal development is all about. Only dealing with what you could deal with, because you can't deal with everything, you know?
And
That was
that's
powerful.
that's how it starts. That's how a lot of us got into personal development, because we realized we took responsibility. Like, hold on now, there are some things, there are some traits that needs to change. There are some things that need to happen in order for me to get from this level to that level. So it's important to acknowledge that. Before you can go on that journey, you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah. And I've been studying a little NLP, that's like neuro-linguistic programming. And one of the basic premises of this, it's like a coaching therapy type of system. One of the basic premises is that nobody is broken. There's not one single broken human being on the planet. Everybody is 100% whole. But sometimes along the way, we get told these stories about like who we are and who society thinks we are and who we should be and what we should do. And it's very limiting. And in the course, like, it's telling you about these things called limiting beliefs. Like, it puts these constraints on you, because as a child, like if you're a toddler, you don't care. You eat dirt, you eat plastic, you'll swallow glue, just because you don't know what the hell you're doing and you don't care. Right? But somewhere along the way, yeah, exactly, we lose all of that. And it's just like, well, we spend the rest of our lives trying to get it back without, or ignoring it without realizing like that's the part of us that we need to not be miserable. And like personal development for me, it's fun, but it's also extremely painful, because a lot of people, they get scared the first time they have to face their own self. Like, it's nothing scarier in the world than looking yourself in the mirror and being like, how I can fix this now? How does it work?
Yeah.
Really
Self-reflection.
Yeah. And there's no roadmap for that. You kind of just have to get in there and do it however it works for you. And I think people don't know that one of the things, which I don't know if you guys have discovered this along the way, I think the most important thing anybody can do is just listen to their own gut and intuition. You know?
It never leads you astray.
Never, not once. Like, even if you call that God or the Holy Spirit or whatever you want to call it, like, that's so important to have a guidepost for you, you know, to just be who you are and to share your own magic with the world without letting people, you know, put all these constraints and ties on you and tell you like, this is what you need to do now. Now get a job at 18 years old, get out of my house, you know? So without being thrust into these situations, we wouldn't really know who we are for ourselves. But I think we get caught up in trying to please other people. We don't see the flip side until like much later.
Yeah.
I love when we have these conversations. I love when we have these conversations because, you know, people can definitely learn from, you know, our own perspective and our joint perspective, and having more than one person, you know, kind of give their take. It definitely helps in the long run. So we didn't just invite Jasper on to have deep, amazing conversation. We also invited Jasper on to have a little fun. And you know, we actually super excited because we actually partnered, me along with Phil and Simone, who's also a host along with us for Take Flight. We partnered with her. This woman is so talented. We partnered with her to actually have our logo created and reveal it to the world. We wanted to have Jasper come on. So Jazz, give us a little, not too long now, but just give us a little tidbit into you as a designer. What were you thinking when you came up with the concept and everything? When you heard the concept, what did your mind run to create our logo?
Wow. No one ever asked me that question, and I always wanted to answer that question.
You're welcome.
Oh man, thank you. Design has been a really crucial part of my life. Like, I've been designing since college, and I used to really, really like get involved, and I used to really love it. And I ended up doing it for money, and I think that's what made me hate it for a little while. So when you asked me to do that, I was actually kind of happy because I didn't really want to get paid for it. I just kind of wanted to do it, you know? So when you told me the concept, I was like, I love books. I love reading. I will put my heart and my soul into this thing. And I just wanted to get it right according to the vision that you had. Because that's what I would do for all of my clients regardless. Because it's your vision, it's your face. It's the face of your brand. It's really important. So that's kind of what guided me along the way, obviously. Because you guys gave me a really clear vision, which you would be surprised in graphic design. How much people don't have that. They don't know what they want. So just make me a logo. Okay. I guess.
Okay, guys, give me something now. Give me something.
I'm telling you, that's why I had to ask so much questions, but I learned along the way what questions to ask. And I don't really know if that's going to be part of my business going forward in the future, but it's definitely something I will continue to do for my friends. And I guess I'll think about money. That's just where I am right now, y'all. Just
I need a money man that can be in there.
I need to figure out what is the real fulfilling thing in my life. But thank you for asking me to do your logo. It was an honor. I'm really happy that you guys like it.
No problem. And Phil, can you do the honors, please? Drum roll, please, without further ado. Everyone back with their desk forever. Here is our new Take Flight. Yes.
I love it. It looks good.
What?
Bam, bam, bam. Look at that.
We
can't wait to put it on a shirt. Trust me.
Yeah.
You can see my shirt too. And I've ordered that on my shirt.
We got some plans. But it is beautiful, and we thank you so much for taking the time out to create, such a beautiful logo for us, because it really embodies what we at Take Flight Podcast want to do in terms of, making learning fun. We're not only, as you can see right now, it's not only books that we talk about. We want to talk about everyday lives. We want to talk about persons that are doing amazing things. And we want to talk about, the personal development that helped them to get there. We want to hear your story. Your story is powerful, and your story matters, and your story can help to uplift people. And that's why we do it. That's why we do this. We want to hear those stories. And we're so thankful, Jaspers, for having you on the show one last time. Now, I know Phil always got something to end us on a high note. He always got something. So, Phil, could you please do the honors? Any last
really?
you have for us? Yes, Phil. because you are a mouthful of.
All right, guys, before we go. Okay. All right, guys, before we go, this is what I want to say. Especially to my friends in the Bahamas.
Oh,
I can deal
Lord.
with the Bahamas, then I can deal with the world. Don't let your circumstances affect your growth. Why I say that? Not because you're in a poor situation or you're locked down or you find that you don't have a job. Everyone has a gift. Tap into your gift. Use these time to reflect on what you could have. And you never know. You never know what direction you will go in. Stop worrying about the next person. Stop worrying about your friends. Stop worrying about your family members. Worry about you. Reflect on you. Especially how we locked down. We've been locked down for a weekend. What did you do that resembles you? What did you focus on? Do you focus on yourself or you focus on others?
Ooh,
Do you worry about what the growth is or you worry about your problems? You spent 3 days from Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and you didn't do no personal development? You didn't even sit down and have a plan to how you can execute the next week? Why stay like that? And to the world, listen, right now, COVID is down. COVID is causing a lot of problems. It's causing scared. People are being scared. But let me tell you some of this. Everybody know throughout problems, there's successful people because they go in the grind. We know it exists, but go in the grind and figure what's to do better. Figure out how their next day do. Don't worry about yesterday. Worry about tomorrow. Change the way you look at things. View things in a different limelight and just go for it. Go for it. Personally, then grab a book. Any book. Grab a book and read it. Even a chapter. One chapter a day can change your life. So get on it. And guys, thanks for listening to our podcast.
Okay.
Wow. What did you do this
Hold on,
weekend?
wait, before reading let me do this right quick. 3, 2, 1, action. So Jasper, where can persons get a hold of you? Share your social media platform, your Instagram, your Facebook. So if people want to, tap into that tarot reading or just, want to, get some work done in terms of your media business that you got going on, where can they find you?
On Facebook, I am Jasper Wolf. You can find me at the Jasper Wolf page, the Jasper Wolf Company, and my websites are thejasperwolf.co and jasperhaeward.com.
All right, wonderful, guys. So there you have it. Let's raise our glass. Let's raise our glass, guys. Your mug.
Clink, clink.
Do you have any mugs? Cheers.
Clink. Cheers.
Just amazing things that are happening right now. Cheers to us and to what we're doing. And to
that was powerful. That was a very powerful speech.
Making a living. So on that note, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. We have landed. It was a bumpy ride, but we made it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget, like us, follow us on Facebook. Like us, follow us on Instagram, like us, follow us on YouTube. Also, please leave a comment. Your feedback is definitely important to us. So let us know what would you like to see from us or what we can do to do better. We want to hear it all. So again, thank you and have an amazing day.